Can you even hear that?
I can't, but I couldn't hear it last time, so.
Oh, no!
Oh.
What the? All right. So hello everyone, and welcome back to our to. It's been a long vacation.
What are we calling it now?
Welcome back to our show. They can't commit to a name.
Yeah, that's right.
We're back. We're finally back.
It's been a long time. How was your Christmas / Hanukkah?
Oh my gosh, my Christmas, Hanukkah /
Christmas
New Year's, Ramahana Kwanzaa. Oh goodness. It was crazy. So I went down to Florida to help my mom move into her new house.
Ooh.
And oh my gosh. So pretty much my entire Christmas was just helping my family, get stuff done. Like we had Christmas morning and then we got right back into work of moving everything.
Packing boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's your present. Now get to work. That's kind of how Christmas goes in your 20s.
Yeah, but I mean, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I got to see my best friend again. I
Woo!
haven't seen in a few months. That was fun. I saw Sing, that movie. Oh my god.
Was it good?
That movie was so I felt like I was in an actual concert.
Oh, really?
Yes. I felt like I was I had actually gone, that I was actually in this little world where all the little animals are singing and stuff, and I actually felt like I was there. Like when some of the animals are singing and they finish, I had the urge to stand up and start clapping like I was at an actual concert. It was so, and you could, and I don't know what it was, but I could feel the people around me wanting to do the same thing. You could, whenever someone would stop singing, in the movie, you hear people going yeah, woo, very, their brains are yeah, cheer, but then the other part of their brain's but be careful, you're in a movie theater, so you have to be quiet,
Oh.
But it was so good. It was so amazing.
I did not expect that. I thought it was going to be stupid.
Oh my gosh. And the critics are saying this is one of the best movies, of 2016. It's so amazing. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh. That's incredible." Yeah, so it was really good. I saw Rogue One. That was fun.
I have not seen that yet.
I enjoyed it. I liked it. A lot of people are like, "Oh yeah," and I'm like, it's good. It's a good movie, and how do I put this? It's fun, and it's oh gosh, how do I put this? It's not. I don't want to say it's campy because it's not. Even though it does have some of the campy undertones that Star Wars does, that Star Wars to have, but it has those, but it doesn't have the Jar Jar Binks kind of campy, if you know what I'm saying, But it's and it's mature, and it's very it's a good Star Wars movie because the trilogies and whatever, those really focus on the star of Star Wars, in the name. This movie really focuses on the war of Star Wars,
Oh,
it really gets into the nitty-gritty of just how, it's this isn't fun and games, not everything is the Force and lightsabers, there's people die, people die, there's a war. I'm not saying characters die, but I'm saying in the act of war, people die. This is not a fun, happy-go-lucky, it has very heavy tones, but at the same time, it's not foreboding. It has a good comic relief to where it's not too depressing, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
Kind of like Saving Private Ryan.
I have not seen that.
Oh, okay. It's good. Saving Private Ryan's a really good war movie.
Okay.
I'm not saying that Rogue One has the plot of Saving Private Ryan, because it doesn't. But that kind of feel where it's this is war, but yet there are some comic reliefs, and you're okay, cool, there are some funny aspects to it, and some ha 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 moments, you know, and then some moments where you're just yeah, kick some ass, kind of really awesome, you're oh, and then, and the characters, I really like the characters in this. You really get this, when the characters are in trouble, you are like, oh my gosh, how are they going to pull this off, Like in the, what's her name? Jin Urso, the main character, the female lead.
Mm-hmm.
She's not a Mary Sue. She's not this
good.
I'm thrown into a situation and I know exactly what I'm doing. She has a struggle, and she has a very emotional struggle that's like, that, I would say a good amount of people can relate to. It's not a struggle so much involving the war in so much. It's more of a struggle, like a personal struggle, which is really humanizing.
That's good writing.
Yeah.
War stories need a, like, I don't know, they need
aspect.
characters that can carry it, and they need that comic relief you were talking about, because otherwise it gets too heavy-handed,
and it almost feels like a documentary sometimes. Not the movie, but if the movie is if like a war movie is too heavy-handed and there's no comic relief, it sometimes feels kind of like a documentary where it's just like, sit back, watch, there's nothing you can do, you're probably not going to enjoy this. I mean, it might be a good movie, but enjoy it in the sense of like happiness. You might, this is a depressing thing, but when a war movie has like a comic relief to it, it lightens the tone, and it makes it less, it really pulls it more into that realm of fiction to where it's not too real,
Yeah. And to me, like, if they don't do it, it also kind of just seems to me like it was, I don't know, written by like a teenage, like if you've ever
like
gone
a middle schooler where everything goes right, and it's like there's false conflict where it's like there's a conflict, but there is never once a part where you never think that the hero isn't going to be able to come out on top.
Exactly.
Kind of like anime, certain animes where you're just like, oh, okay, there's a new villain, but
stop yelling at me.
Yeah, it's like they're gonna win. They're gonna win. Like Superman. You know Superman's gonna win, and that can work if it's done right, especially like in comedy. But when it's a serious thing, you're like, I'm losing interest because I'm not invested because you're gonna win.
Yeah.
There's no struggle. But in saying that, Rogue One, it has its fair share of problems. It's not a perfect movie. But I will say this: I did enjoy it more than The Force Awakens. Really? I did, because one, with the whole Mary Sue thing with Rey, how she's just like, she knew how to do everything. It's like, this is my first time flying a plane. It's like you're out maneuvering, two TIE fighters with ease. It's like, how are you being able to do this? You
lived in the desert your whole life.
Yeah, exactly. I drive a motorcycle. It's like, with that logic, I could fly an airplane because I drive a Nissan Versa. It's like, that's not how that works. But like, Jin doesn't have that Mary Sue. No, don't get me wrong. She's a very strong, independent character. But she does need to be rescued from time to time, not because she's incompetent, but because she just doesn't have the skills at that point, because she's thrown into a situation that she's never been in before, and it makes sense for her to be like, I don't know what I'm doing, help me,
Yeah.
Like, something I've never experienced, I know exactly what to do. It's like, how? You've never done this before.
Yeah. So what was the primary difference though for you between The Force Awakens and Rogue One that made it better for you?
Gosh, the characters.
The characters?
And no, don't get me wrong. I love Rey, I love Finn, and I love
Poe.
Poe's my favorite. Poe and Finn are probably my favorite. Not because I don't like Rey, but because there's that like huddle homosexual kind of like.
Yeah, I shook them so hard.
But they're like, the reason I love Finn so much is because he has that puppy mentality. He's very much of just this. He doesn't get a lot, and he doesn't understand. But when he's kind of Finn embodies the audience being thrown into this universe. He's high energy, very excited, and when exciting things happen, he's like, wow, just the same kind of personality that any viewer would have.
Yeah.
While with Poe, he's been there. He's done this his whole life. This isn't a new thing to him. Kind of but with Rey, it's different. She comes from a life where it's like very hard. So like, this isn't a new thing for her. Even though all of these experiences she's having are new, But
Yeah.
but no, but then the other characters in the movie, they kind of just fall out in like The Force Awakens. They're just very like, all right, you're there. Like,
Yeah, my least favorite was that alien, I forget her name, but the one that like
Oh,
gave her the lightsaber.
the orange one.
Yes.
Yes, I'm like, okay, you're here, okay.
What's your point is only
your
to
only
deliver
point
this
in this
item.
entire, literally, you could be replaced with a vending machine
Yeah.
that dispenses lightsabers.
Yeah,
That's your only purpose in this movie.
And she's like, the Force.
The Force. Like, her character sounds interesting, and she sounds like a really cool and interesting character. I just wish they would have developed it more, to where like there's a reason she needs to be in this story, there's a reason she has to be here. And the villain, oh my gosh.
Yes.
In Rogue One, what's his face? The guy who's played by one of the Weasley brothers in Harry
really?
Potter. Huh?
I haven't seen Rogue One, so I don't.
No, not Rogue One. The Force Awakens.
Oh.
What's his face? The guy who's above. He's not Snoke, but he's the Imperial dude.
Kylo Ren?
No, the guy that's above Kylo Ren, the general guy.
Oh.
Yeah. That's one of the Weasley brothers from Harry Potter.
Oh my gosh! That totally just like went over my head. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. What else? No, but he's just angry Nazi, pretty much. There's no really. The villain in Rogue One is so good. He's very human, I guess you could say. Like he's that kind of. He's human, He's this maniacal, very sly, very, He's very like. I want to say a Bond villain, but without the camp. Like, imagine a Bond villain who isn't campy, but is very, very, very scary and very... like, I don't want to mess with this person because, one, they will kill me. There's no doubt in my mind that this person will kill me, and they will do whatever it takes to kill me, and they will... Not only will they kill me, but they will do whatever... they will... They're not just going to kill me. They're going to torture me. They're going to torture the people I love. Like, this is a very scary person you don't want to deal with. The guy in A New Hope, you're just like... He's a hothead. Yeah, okay, yes, there's a threat he might oppose to me, but he's just a child, pretty much.
Yeah.
What else? And the characters. There was I think two of my favorite characters. I loved the hero roster. I loved them all. They were all great. Every single one of them I cared about their development. I cared about their arc. I cared about their story. I was invested in them. I was like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? But I think one of my favorites was played by, and I think I'm saying his name right. His name is, oh gosh, the actor. Because I don't know his name in the movie because I can barely remember names to begin with. But the actor's name is, my boyfriend loves him to death. He loves all of his movies. He's a martial artist. Oh gosh, what's his name?
I don't know.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna look it up. He plays the blind character in the movie.
Okay.
He's a very famous mixed martial art or martial artist, and I think he practices kung fu. Oh gosh. Let me see here.
I'm just looking at the cast, trying to see.
Yeah.
But I don't know who anybody is.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. Okay, Donnie Yen.
Oh, okay.
I love his role in that movie. He's probably one of my favorite characters, and his character is like... so... His character is amazing in the sense of, like... when there's a character that brings faith into this, like, that kind of like, I believe in a higher power kind of thing, that like that religious character that everyone's kind of like, but then they're like, oh my gosh, you can definitely see that this person's faith is what's guiding them.
Yeah.
That's definitely like faith in the sense for this movie is the Force for him.
Yeah.
And it's the way they embody the Force with this character. Not to say that he's using the Force, but his faith in it is so like like I wish they would have done this for other Jedi in other movies. You know, the way they use him, like the way he has faith in the Force and how he like, you know, embodies it. I wish they would have done it for Jedis, because he's not a Jedi, but for Jedis in other movie, because the Jedis in the other movie, it's just I have a lightsaber and I'm going to use the Force, but they never like truly like, you know, like when Obi-Wan's like trust in the Force and stuff, it's like okay, but you never really see him actually trust in the Force. Like Luke just closes his eyes, opens his eyes, and he can do what he needs to do, you know.
Yeah.
Like with this character, with Donnie Yen's character, you really see him trusting in the Force, you know. It's so cool.
Do you think he like gives the Force itself a personality, like before it was just like this magical thing, and now
I wouldn't really say he personifies it, but it's kind of like oh gosh, I would say more of like, you ever play D&D?
No.
Do you know what a cleric is in that regard though? Okay.
No.
Okay, cleric. I don't know.
Was it like a psychic?
No. Did you ever watch Jackie Chan Adventures?
Yeah.
Remember Uncle? Yumogwegwe 5 Tao?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say it's as campy and as cheesy as that, but that kind of like where he just believes in what he is doing, like the like not so much ritual. Well, I mean, I guess for Uncle it is a ritual, but you know how he has like that faith in it. He's like, this is gonna work, you know, and he does it every single time.
Yeah.
It kind of like this. I believe in it so much that it's not going to fail me, you know. Even if something goes wrong, that doesn't mean it has failed me, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of character. But some of the characters are so good.
To be universe.
Huh? Say that again? Couldn't hear you. You broke up a little bit.
It's really bad. Interesting for that to be introduced into that universe.
Oh gosh. You keep like popping in and out.
Can you?
Okay, I hear you now. I hear you better now. Oh gosh. This is bad. Well, Shannon is facing some technical difficulties right now. If you're wondering why.
It's like, I'm at my...
Yeah. Oh gosh. She keeps breaking up. Oh gosh. But so all in all, for Rogue One is definitely a movie to go see. It's really good. I like it. Now, don't get me wrong, it has its problems, but I enjoyed it and I was fun. I saw it twice, I want to say. Yeah, I saw it twice. I loved it each time. I enjoyed it. Now, the first time I saw it, I was like, I went in and I was just kind of like, how is this gonna be? And then once I sat down and like watched it and I got a few minutes in, I was like, this is actually pretty good. And at the end of the movie, I was like, that was amazing. And then the second time I watched it, I just sat there and I was just like, this is awesome. I love this. Oh my gosh. Some of my favorite aliens are the little squid guys, the Mon Calamari, the little like, it's a trap. Like in the Star Wars universe, those are some of my favorite aliens because they're so cute, they are so adorable, and so there are some of them in this movie, like in the background and stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so cute. There's like a little blue one and like a little like white one who has got like little blue speckles on them, and I'm like, oh, they're so adorable. And one takes like a little sassy, like he has a little console and he like steps out from it and he has like a little sassy pose, and he's like, we did it, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're so cute. Oh my gosh, there's so I would love to see a movie of just them. Like Admiral Akbar goes to, parent-teacher conference. It's so cute. Oh gosh. If you keep popping in and out. I'm gonna see if I can remedy this. Shannon, if you're listening, I'm going to hang up and call you again.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna see if that fixes this. Oh gosh. Let's see if this works. Did I get her? Ah, shit. Let me try it again. So, to our viewers, remember we do have a chat section, a comment section. Please feel free to send us some questions whether you wanted to ask us. Let's see if this works. Let's see if something else works. Oh, this show is great. Let's see if I can contact her. No. Damn it. Let's see if this works.
Hello?
Hello, is that better?
I'm on my phone now.
Is that okay, or can we work with this, or no?
Yeah, that's fine. My internet, I tried to connect it to this amplifier thing and all this stuff. It's just so bad here. I don't know, and especially it's raining right now, and when it rains it really goes out.
Oh.
And it's just bad. But you can hear me now, so that's what matters.
Yeah. But hey, I think you're coming in pretty good. So
Yeah.
did you? I pretty much just wrapped up the whole Rogue One conversation.
That's good. I could hear some of it, but it was
Yeah.
like blub, 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 blub.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on to our next segment, which is something you wanted to talk about, Shannon. Want to give us a good? You want to tell us what it is?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit with Star Wars, but I really wanted to talk about the power of speculative fiction, which is the broader term for science fiction, and that kind of includes fantasy and I don't know what else you could include in that. Just sort of these realms of storytelling that have sort of fantastic elements or things that wouldn't exist in real life but sort of could and touch on real life. I read this really interesting, I've read a lot of speculative fiction this past couple weeks actually, and I read this really amazing book called Dark Matter, and it sort of inspired me to talk about it, and I don't want to ruin it for people because I want everybody to read it.
Yeah.
But it sort of dealt with the concept of your choices and how your choices affect one simple choice affects everything for the rest of your life. And sort of I think the butterfly effect does that.
Yeah, well, the butterfly effect is more of very it's extremely minor things, you dropped a kernel of popcorn on, the floor of the Walmart, and now there's going to be a tsunami in China,
Yeah, I mean, it's more, maybe not that quite minuscule of choices, but it kind of just, oh my gosh, just everybody needs to go read Dark Matter. I was so excited reading it. But speculative fiction is, I'm looking up the definition so I can explain it better. But some examples of it would be The Time Traveler's Wife, where...
Oh, that's a really good movie. I never actually saw it, but my mom did, and she said she cried 5 times.
Yeah, I've seen the movie. I didn't appreciate it as much because I felt like it left out a lot of like really important um plot points and like things that meant a lot to the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand like it's a movie and you can only put so much, but I was like, man, they really cut out some like major stuff. Um, but you know, it's like the world is real and everything is realistic and believable, except for the fact that this man has a medical condition that makes him suddenly disappear and reappear in some other point in time. And it's something genetic that he can't control.
Mm-hmm.
And as he gets older, it gets worse because it's a chronic condition.
Isn't it based off of like stress or something?
It's like they compare it to epilepsy.
Hmm.
And they say it's like the if he gets more stressed or more upset, it will like cause him to have an episode where he'll go back in time. And like it's also I think like agitated by alcohol. And it's
Hmm.
really interesting because they try and treat it with like antipsychotic drugs and they try and treat it with like anti-seizural medication and
Mm-hmm.
like but it changes. I don't know. It just the way.
Sorry.
Hey!
Sorry, that was my boyfriend texting me. I forgot to put my phone on silent.
No, it's fine. Um, let's see. The definition of speculative fiction, though, is it is a category of narrative fiction that includes elements, settings, and characters created out of imagination and speculation, rather than based on reality in everyday life. It encompasses the genres of science fiction, fantasy, horror, superhero fiction, alternative history, and magic realism. Which
Magic
I love
realism.
magic realism.
Is magic
Um,
realism, would that be more like Harry Potter or would that be more like oh gosh. Doctor Strange?
I would say probably Doctor Strange. I
Hmm.
haven't seen or read any Doctor Strange, but from my understanding, it's more of like a natural element to the world, as opposed to Harry Potter is like, whoa, you're suddenly thrown into magic world
There's
and
like
everything's
there's like the wizarding world and then there's the, you know, the real world. Well, with Doctor Strange it's kind of all one and the same.
Yeah, I think something like that. Like there's a story called like Water for Chocolate or and
Hmm.
the woman is like this cook, I think,
Mhm.
and has like the power to put magic into her food or something like I don't quite it's
She's
confusing.
a
But
grandmother.
I just like how there's one story that particularly stands out in my mind called The Ones Who Walked Away from Omelas. And
Oh, I've heard of this.
you have
Yes, I've
it
never read it, but I have heard of it. What
it
is it
is a short
about?
story. It's a short story you can read in one sitting in like 30 minutes to an hour,
Hmm.
but it's about this utopian world where everything is perfect and ideal and everything is wonderful except for some reason, for all of this to exist and be perfect, one child has to be put in like this
Didn't
room
they like
and
torture it or
suffer.
something?
Yeah, he has to
Yes.
suffer and be tortured forever
Yep.
until he dies, and then they put the next child into the room.
Yep.
And it doesn't quite explain like why this has to be, because it's not really important. But it's
People
saying
just
like you don't.
accept it.
Yeah, it's like you just need to know that like for this utopian society to exist, and for everything to be good and perfect, this child has to suffer, like an innocent person has to suffer. And I think as far as speculative fiction goes, it has this power to take a very real um, element to our world, but it puts it in a different context for us to understand it.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, we're not in some utopian society, and there's not some child in a room suffering for the greater good.
I mean,
But those sorts of situations exist.
yeah.
Where, like, you know,
Kind of
some
like we
people
have to
have
throw the virgin into a volcano or else the gods will kill us.
yeah, but not
Not as
necessarily
drastic.
like yeah,
Yeah.
like that sort of maybe some people have to fall for the greater good.
Yeah,
And
like
you know, I think a lot about like politics
yeah.
and
There has to be
um
the catalyst, you know, there has to be this. It's like when you go to war, you know, and you
mhm,
really want your
mhm.
side to win. You have to make your opponent the enemy. That's why
Yeah,
propaganda exists. It can't just be,
exactly.
oh, we're fighting this person. Then people will be like, well, why are we fighting them? Like in World War One and World War Two, it's like because they're the enemy. They're these disgusting villains. Like they're these you know
They make them not human
exactly, yeah, they dehumanize
anymore.
them. So when but I mean, granted, it's war and you need to
Yeah.
win and it's the enemy, so it's like, and you don't want the soldiers to feel bad when they're killing the enemy who are humans. You don't want them to be thinking, I'm killing another human. You want them to be thinking, I'm killing these villains, these monsters,
Yeah.
the enemy, you know
Yeah. And in addition to that, it's sort of put into that same perspective of, some people might have to die, but it's for liberty and
yeah, there's always a
freedom and
sacrifice,
everything will be
you
good
know
again. Yeah.
But in the same aspect,
And
there's a righteous sacrifice, and then there's the selfish sacrifice.
yeah.
The righteous sacrifice is when someone willingly puts their life on the line, and then
Mhm.
the selfish sacrifice is when someone puts someone else's life on the line.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
in this story, the child has no choice.
Yeah.
They're just picked and they're put in this room and they're told, like, you have to suffer for everyone else to be happy.
Yeah.
And the theme of the story, or the major point of the story, is there are certain people who choose to leave this utopian city called Omelas
Mm-hmm.
because they learn about the child suffering, and they're saying, well, I'm not going to be a part of this then, and I'll go into the world and suffer on my own.
Mm.
And it's like, it doesn't free that child, but they decide not to be a part of the people who take advantage of the suffering.
So instead of trying to like stop it, they're just like, I just don't want to be a part of it.
I think it's like they can't stop it.
Oh.
I can't remember because I read it like 2 or 3 years ago. I think it's like even the people, they know that if they try to stop it, they'll cause the whole world to suffer.
Oh.
So it's sort of it's a really difficult situation for
So
everybody.
save this one kid. Do I do the moral right thing and save this one kid, but jeopardize the well-being of everyone else, or
Yeah.
do I allow the well-being of everyone else to persist and live with knowing that this one child is subjected to horrific, things, quote
Yeah.
unquote, for the greater good?
Yeah. And so it's I don't know, that story really stuck with me. And that actually, I was never that interested in speculative fiction until I read that story. And
would you say Back to the Future falls under speculative fiction?
I think Back to the Future is just a comedy.
It's just a comedy with some aspects of,
Yeah, I think it has some characteristics of speculative fiction, but I don't think it has any sort of moral punch that requires it, that speculative fiction requires. Another example would be Horns. Do you know the story Horns?
Oh, Daniel Radcliffe just made a movie about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a couple of, I haven't seen the movie, but I'm reading the book. And basically, this guy wakes up one morning, goes to the bathroom, and he has horns.
That'd be so cool.
And it's like, it's insane. And as he goes out into the world, when people see the horns or they come near them, it's like they go into a trance and they start telling him all of their deepest, darkest sins and desires, and he has the choice to persuade them to go with that evil desire or to not. And it's like, it's never says like he's the devil, but he sort of starts to claim that, and he's like, I feel like I'm the devil, where like these people, I see their sin and their desire, and I can whisper in their ear and make them take advantage of that. Wow. And yeah, and it sort of shows you, like, he goes to see his own parents, and the whole premise of the story is his girlfriend was murdered, and everyone thinks he did it.
Oh.
And I'm almost done with it. I'm in like the last couple of chapters, so But he goes, and these people, like, he goes to his parents' house, and his own mother, because they just speak and they don't even realize they're talking to him.
Wow.
And she's like, I hate you. I can't stand being around you because of what you've done to our family. And it's like the most evil thoughts that person has
Wow.
comes to the surface. And it just sort of, I don't know, it shows a lot about human nature, you know, and what people are capable of, I guess, and the spectrum of, you know, not everybody is what they are on the surface.
Yeah.
But it uses this fantastic element within the story to address it.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you have any like stories like that, like speculative fiction or something fantasy
that I've read or that I'm thinking about making, or what?
Or I don't know, I guess any of those, like, that have really stuck out to you, and that have, like, you saw read the book or the movie, or
oh gosh, I have to say probably, because I love science fiction. I love a lot of like sci-fi and stuff like that. But let's see here about speculative fiction. I'm trying to think about like which ones that I like that actually fall under it, and which ones fall under, like, you know, science fiction and then sci-fi. Let's see. I guess Star Trek. I guess I love Star Trek. Star Trek's one of my favorite things. That really falls under like speculative fiction in that sense, where it's like, this is technically a possibility, probably not going to happen, but it's not outlandish for this type of stuff to happen, you know? What else? Blade Runner. I do love Blade Runner.
That is on my list.
Yeah.
I have never seen Blade Runner.
Oh my gosh, it's good, and it's very much of, you know, I don't want to give too much away, but it's a very good movie, and it's very emotional, and it makes you think. Really, it really does. What's another speculative fiction? Ever seen the anime Ghost in the Shell?
No, but I want to.
It's good, but it's creepy because like, not creepy in the sense like how it's drawn, but the themes it covers. You know, like it just really shows how screwed up, you know, life can get once humans become too dependent on technology.
You know? Sort of like Black Mirror.
Sure. I haven't seen Black Mirror, but sure, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Black Mirror really touches on that. I've only seen a couple of episodes, but there's one episode where this woman's boyfriend dies. And there is this option where you can buy like a cyborg that looks like the person, and it uses all of their social media to download their personality.
That's kind of creepy.
It is creepy because the saddest part of it is like he doesn't realize he's not that person.
Oh,
like
wow.
the cyborg.
He doesn't know he's dead.
And she does. Yeah, and she tries to tell him, she's like, you're not really him, you're just like a copy of him. And he's like, but I feel like I'm him. And it deals with like the idea of like human consciousness and like what is a soul and like a real person.
Wow.
And
well, with Ghost in the Shell, it's not so much like that. It's more of the fact where there's just everyone nowadays in like that universe has some aspect of them that is, well, not everyone, but a good majority of many people have aspects of them that are cybernetic enhancements.
Okay.
And not to give too much away, but there's a criminal that is hacking these enhancements and forcing these people to commit a range of between heinous and moderate crimes.
Oh.
And it's scary because the one guy, he has a cybernetic he has a brain enhancement, a cybernetic brain enhancement. And the criminal how do I put this? He implants false memories in his head to make him think that he has a wife and child. And because of that, he uses those false memories to manipulate the man into committing crimes for him.
Oh my god.
It's really fucked up. But
yeah.
And it's really it's an amazing premise. That's just one. That's just one aspect of the movie, but in that genre of those are what that's what I mean. The scary part of people are relying too much on technology. It's that how do you know that once you have this cybernetic I mean, I wouldn't really worry about like prosthetic arms or prosthetic legs or like a pacemaker. Maybe a pacemaker, like someone can stop your heart, but like something involving the brain,
Yeah.
I would not trust myself with one of those because how do I know the thoughts that I'm thinking from then on are my own thoughts? How do I know that's not some person in a computer, sending me these thoughts,
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think that's one of my that's a really good one in one of my for oh gosh. Speculative fiction. I forgot the name. Probably one of my best favorites for speculative fiction. Oh gosh, what else is there that I really like? I guess Metal Gear Solid. If you've ever played that video game, that's a really good one.
No, I haven't.
Speculative fiction. It's just about a guy named Solid Snake or Snake. There's a lot of him. It's weird. It's very confusing. Metal Gear Solid has a very convoluted, very long, drawn out, very confusing plot, to say the least. It's very confusing, but it's interesting in the sense because it's like it's pretty much it's soldier versus it's kind of like the old versus the new. It's Snake, who's this soldier. He's just this badass soldier, and he is fighting to protect the world from new lethal technology, which are known as the Metal Gears, which are like these large robotic just war machines that could decimate, cities and countries and stuff. And it shows that like just because it's new technology, just because it's cutting edge, doesn't mean that it's better than the human aspect. The human aspect can always if it's put to it, it'll always find a way to overcome, this, technology that's so incredibly advanced,
Yeah.
like a technological being created for the sole purpose of killing, a human can still find a way to overcome them,
Yeah. And if we're thinking about like video games,
oh gosh, yeah.
I just watched the demo for Silent Hills PT.
Oh, wait. Okay. So you do know that PT isn't going to be a thing anymore, right?
I don't know. I just saw the demo and it was called Silent Hills PT.
Yeah, PT was canceled.
What?
Yep, and it pissed so many people off because the guy who made PT, not only did they cancel it, but they fired him.
Why?
So what he did is was like, you know what? Screw you. He went, and I think he either made his own video game company or he joined another company, and he's making a new video game called Death Standing with, oh gosh, what is his name? Norman Reedus.
Yeah. Guy from Walking Dead?
Yes. Mads Mikkelsen. You know the actor, right? Mads Mikkelsen. He was from James Bond. He was the guy with the bleeding eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in it, and I want to say Guillermo
del Toro?
Yes, that guy.
Yeah, he really brings the horror to that.
Oh gosh, Guillermo del Toro is an amazing. I love his Hellboy. Did you ever see Pan's Labyrinth?
Yes.
That movie is good, but it is fucking creepy.
I only watched it once, and I was like, I can't watch this again. And it wasn't actually the more fantastic aspects of it, like the creature that has like no eyes, but the eyes are in his hands.
Yeah, that thing.
The pale man.
Yeah, the pale man.
He did not. I mean, he was creepy, but those things didn't scare me. What scared me was the stepfather.
Oh, the general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How he like beat the shit out of everybody, and like he just terrified me.
The person who scared me the most out of the entire movie was Pan, because there's just something about a character who is warm and like the fact that he can be very like, oh, he's very warm and welcoming.
Yeah.
But as soon as you fuck up, or as soon as she fucked up, he became that very scary, like I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna die, he's gonna kill her,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it showed he's lying, that whole happy-go-lucky, this is who he really is, this scary thing, that warm and welcoming aspect of him was just a mask. It was a persona. It wasn't really what he was. This scary, angry thing was what he truly was. And I was like, this is what scares me the most,
Yeah.
Because he was so tall and just, and how he kind of his posture, how he kind of hung over her, And he always had his hands near himself, like he was plotting, and he was never close. He was always far away, and he was always kind of circling her, kind of like a wolf,
Yeah.
And but even though he was doing that, he was still trying to act happy and go lucky. But then when he got angry, he was still doing all the same things, but he was angry, and I was like, this is what's scaring me, At first I was like, I don't know if I trust you, and now you've shown me that I can't, because you're scary as shit.
Yeah. But I was talking about the PT, the demo.
Yes.
Did you watch it? Did you ever watch the?
Yes, I have. I know the PT demo very well.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I have a hobby that I think most people would think I'm insane for, but I like to very late at night turn off all the lights, get really good headphones, and in the dark alone watch horror games. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do. So that's what I did with this demo. I didn't know what to expect. Because, usually you expect a couple of jump scares and then you're like, all right, that was fun. There was a talking fetus in the sink.
Yep, that thing was disturbing. Oh, remember when they turn around the corner that one time and there's just that figure standing there, that really tall, imposing figure standing in the red light?
Yes.
That thing scared the ever-living piss shit out of me.
Yeah. The one that the two biggest scares for me were not necessarily the first time you see the fetus in the sink. That was oh, that's creepy.
There's a fetus.
But, it's it's a fetus in a sink and it's breathing and it's in the sink. But when you turn and it's talking in an adult male voice, that was the point where I was like, Jesus Christ on a bike. I'm never going to sleep again.
Yeah.
It was horrifying. And then the other time was when the coffin is hanging from the chandelier.
Oh.
And you hear the person screaming in it, and it's swinging back and forth.
There's blood dripping from it?
Yes. Because it's you don't expect it there because the radio's so loud, and then you turn the corner.
Or the woman or the girl in the bathroom, and you look through the crack and she's there, and then she slams the door.
Yes.
I was like, ugh! I watched the Game Grumps play it.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh. Aaron and Dan lost his shit. He was screaming like a little girl. He was like, oh my gosh! And I'm just like, I've never seen this man so terrified in my entire life. He was literally, he was like, Aaron, I don't know if we can keep doing this. I don't know if I can continue playing this. And he's like, I know it's a demo, but I don't know if I can keep going. And I'm like, I'm with you. I am so with you.
It was it is seriously the most horrifying game I've ever seen. And I love horror games. I watch them all the time.
Have you ever seen what's a good horror game? Oh gosh. Amnesia: The Dark Descent. It's a common one. When you first play it, you're like, and then you're just like, okay, I get it. It's not as scary once you keep playing it.
Yeah. After a while, the monster, you're just like, he just looks like a melted piece of pizza.
That someone tried to put together with a staple.
Yeah, he's not that scary.
What was a really good horror game that really scared me? Oh gosh. Sometimes the most scariest video games, the most scariest aspect for certain video games are the ones that aren't horror games.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one movie? I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't a horror movie, but there's just one scene of a dead baby on the roof, and that was the most scary most disturbing
What?
thing. I can't remember what movie it was, but there's like a scene, and there's like and it's not a horror movie. You're watching the entire movie, you're like, this isn't a horror movie, and then there's just one scene where there's a dead baby on the roof, like crawling around with like a broken neck, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is a vision from hell itself.
I don't know what that is, but
Disturbing. So disturbing.
I don't want to see it. I was thinking of, though, as far as things that aren't horror. Did you ever play Ocarina of Time?
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm a huge Legend of Zelda fan. You don't... I'm a huge
when you're
Legend
in the
of Zelda
marketplace
fan.
as an adult.
Which one?
When you're in the marketplace as an adult.
Oh, and the like, Redeads?
The Redeads, where they like shriek at you and you freeze.
Do you remember No Hands, I think his name is?
No
The
Hands.
thing at the bottom of the well that's just a torso, a long neck, and there's 4 arms sticking out of the ground?
No.
And they grab you and they try to pull you and he tries to like gnaw your head off.
No.
Yeah, oh gosh, that thing is fucked up. And it like screams and it makes like this weird like it's drowning or whatever. It's so like the bottom of the well level and the Shadow Temple are so fucking disturbing.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh. Ugh. You ever play Majora's Mask?
No, it was never part of my childhood. The moon, though, I do remember, like, my god brother used to play it a lot, and I remember the moon's face.
Yeah, I love that thing.
But that's all I remember, because I was probably, like, 6 when he was playing it. So, and I know the story, like, you have, like, 3 days to do something. It's
interesting, because the story, it's, like, each area is kind of based around the concept of the stages of grief and like the aspect of mourning.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like oh gosh, I'm probably gonna get these wrong, but the stages of grief is what's the first stage? It's disbelief or something, or like not.
It's denial.
Denial. So the first place you're in, Clocktown, everyone's the moon is hanging, ominously above them, and everyone's still just, nothing bad's gonna happen. We gotta go on with our normal everyday lives, even though that the town is relatively like deserted, because all the sane people left. The second place, which is the Deku Palace, is blame. Or that's the second stage, right? Blame or
I think it's like bargaining, or there's denial, there's bargaining, there's anger, there's hold on, I'm gonna look it up. Stages of grief, if my internet will work. Sweet Lord. Okay. The 5 stages of grief are denial and isolation. And then it is loading. I don't know. The last one is acceptance, I know.
Yes, acceptance. Okay, the reason why the last one, this is why everyone thinks that that's why this is around the stages of grief, is because the last area you go to, a part of the world, everyone is already dead. It's just a graveyard, kind of like it's a deserted city, and everyone there is undead. So they've accepted the fact that they have accepted death,
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that I gotta really quick just interject this.
Oh yeah.
I was watching Twilight Zone yesterday, and there was an episode of this woman in her house, and somebody came to the door and was injured, and he was like, please help me, I'm injured. And she was like, I can't let you in because death keeps trying to come in.
Wow.
And she was like, death keeps trying to come in and touch me, and once he touches me, I know I'll die. And he was just like this really sweet, like 20-something guy, and he was like, please, I'm not trying to hurt you, I just need your help. So she brings him in, and like a bunch of other people come to the door, and she keeps thinking it's Death. And then finally at the end you find out the young guy is Death. And he comes over and he's like, you see, like, I'm not scary, I've never tried to hurt you, like, I've been nothing but kind, like, all you have to do is take my hand, it's not gonna hurt you. And like, I don't know, it's just this really cool personification of like death comes gently and like isn't gonna hurt you, and it's your friend, and she like takes
Yeah.
his hand and like walks out the door. It was just really, really good. I
Yeah.
love Twilight Zone. But I'm sorry, you were telling me about the last stage.
No, but, I'm pretty much finished. But yeah, like, you know, I love The Legend of Zelda. It's one of my favorite video games.
Yeah, the
Or franchises, I should say.
yeah.
That and
the,
Star Fox. I love Star Fox.
Oh man, I forgot about Star Fox.
It's you know why I love it, right?
Because they're talking animals.
Furries in space.
I hate it so
Furries in
much.
space, and I love it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, they have rocket ships. They're so cute.
I don't like how they talk. It's like
yeah, they're like little puppets.
Oh, it creeps
I love
me
it.
out.
Well, it depends. In some of them, like in the old ones, of course, because the animation back then was, you know, the Nintendo 64. But when they got better, they actually had like mouth movement and stuff, and I was like, okay, yeah. Oh my gosh, I love Star Fox. But I think we have a good segment. I think we're going to our next segment of the show about what are our favorite movies and why we like them, and like you know, the storytelling aspects. Do you want to start us off, Shannon?
Yeah, do you want to just like each say a movie and why? Like so we
Sure.
can take, like,
I mean, if you have a few, you can definitely say them.
yeah, I've got 5.
Oh, awesome. We can go back and forth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
My number 1 favorite movie is The Apartment with Jack Lemmon. Have you ever seen it or heard of it?
It sounds familiar.
It was made in I think like 62, maybe, and it is just sort of this really sad. Not really sad. Like cause the characters are pretty upbeat most of the time, but it's this like slice of life. 60s, working in the cubicle you know, like this guy, it's urban isolation basically. Like this guy lives alone, all of his employers take advantage of him, the girl he likes doesn't even notice him.
Wow.
And I mean, in the end it has a good ending and like things are great, but it shows the 3 main characters are the main guy whose apartment it is, and all of his superiors in the office use his apartment to have affairs. So like they bring their girlfriends there and like kick him out, and they're like, if you let us do this, we'll give you a promotion.
Wow.
So he gets taken advantage of by everybody. He gets kicked out of his apartment all the time, and his main overseeing boss, who's like head of the entire company, he finds out he is having an affair with the girl he has a crush on.
Wow.
So he at first he like lets it happen because he doesn't know who it is or like what's going on, and he really wants this promotion, and then in the end, like, oh, it's just so good. And like these 2 people make a connection, the guy and the girl is Shirley MacLaine. I don't know if you know who she is.
I have no idea who Shirley MacLaine is.
Okay, it's really old movies. I love old movies. But it's just sort of, it's very relatable even though it's so old, of how like just trying to survive in an urban, like it's crowded and full of people, but you're completely alone.
Yeah.
And oh, it's so good. That's my number 1 favorite movie. What is yours?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to go with. You ever seen the Moulin Rouge with Ewan McGregor?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Really? That's like, a beautiful movie.
I love, because I really feel that it kind of personifies, you know, everyone's like, oh, it's just so weird and it's campy, and I'm like, yeah, but the reason it is that is because the movie itself is trying to show you the personification of what love is.
Yeah.
It's wild, it's sporadic, it's crazy, it doesn't make sense from time to time, and it shows you all the aspects of love. Like, do you remember when, oh gosh.
Christian?
Yeah, Christian and, what's her face? Satine go on the date, but the Duke is like the third wheel.
Yeah.
It shows you, like, that is literally what the third wheel is. You know, it's these 2 people are trying to have a nice relationship, and there's just that one awkward person who keeps ruining it for everyone and makes it weird, you know?
Yeah.
And make it awkward.
Yeah. I always stop that movie at the end of the Come What May song.
Uh,
I'm like, they're happy. It's
yeah.
done.
And then my mom, like, as soon as like the curtain closes, she ends the movie. She's like, and they lived happily ever after.
That's what I do.
And I'm just like, no, he has to, because he, I don't. Spoiler alert.
Well, he says in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, he does say in the first 5 minutes, but. I love that that's how it ends, that she dies in his arms, but she died doing the one thing she wanted to be her entire life, which was becoming an actress, not being this, not being a prostitute, or a showgirl anymore. She finally became an actress, a singer. And the night she finally became that, she died, Yeah,
and she also got to be like 100% in love with the person she chose.
She finally got to be herself. She didn't have to put on this persona to entertain people, to trick people. She was finally who she was, even though it was such a small, minuscule amount of time. It was like minutes, but she was finally that. And then, she's just, and like Christian's just, he really personifies just that, the young lover. He definitely is the young lover, and he's not just he isn't just the male in the relationship, he personifies, what it is to be a young lover, whether or not you're a dude or a chick, or whatever aspect you're coming into a relationship in. As the young lover, he is that, he is the perfect persona, because he doesn't, his idea of love is just what he's read and what he has witnessed, but never what he has truly ever experienced. And that is why he makes such mistakes,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And Satine, how she's the old lover, even though they're relatively the same age, she's been doing this her entire life. She's a showgirl, she's a prostitute, she's her love to her is,
she's jaded.
She is, love to her is painful and
sad.
Yeah, it's a job, and everyone knows that once something you love becomes a job, there is a chance that you stop enjoying it,
That's definitely true.
Yeah. And Christian is the one who shows her, don't make it a job. Find someone you love and be with them, Granted, Christian probably has a shit ton of STDs by the end of the movie for the sole fact that he's sleeping with her. Because it's, France in like, post, it's before the French Revolution. No.
Is it?
No, it's after the French Revolution.
Yeah.
During the, what was that? Something about pants or whatever. The artist. Oh gosh, what is it called? I'm blanking on the name. That whole movement.
I don't remember.
That artist movement that happened in France. That kind of fell to pieces.
I can't remember it either, but it was like that bohemian movement.
The bohemian movement of France. It's in the midst of that, But I love that movie so much. It's one of my, I love the music. One of my favorite, who's the guy who has the lisp? Sparkling Diamond. I love him.
He's a real, his character is based off of a real person, the real artist who did the Moulin Rouge posters back in the day.
I love him so much. He's so funny.
Toulouse.
Huh?
Toulouse,
yeah. I love how he played the... Oh my gosh, Shannon.
What?
Someone hit us up in the comment section.
What?
Yeah?
For real?
Oh, shit. Oh.
What's going on?
So Mr. Oz Marvel. I think it's Logan. You remember Logan?
Hey. Who are you?
It's Logan. You remember Logan from Sequa?
Yeah, I love Logan.
Yeah, he's hitting us up in the chat.
Hi, Logan.
Awesome. Oh yes, he says so many French art movements. He puts Rococo, but Rococo was more of a style.
No, Rococo was like the 1600s.
Yeah. Rococo, and Rococo was more of like a Rococo was gaudy. Oh gosh, it was so gaudy.
It was very frilly. Everyone wore high heels.
Everyone had some. There was people were slowly metamorphosizing into human-sized doilies.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Shannon, we have 10 viewers.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Fuck yeah.
Well, speaking of, you were talking about the aspect of like, at her death, she was finally true to herself.
Yeah.
And who she wanted to be.
Yeah.
It reminds me, one of my other favorite movies is actually Brokeback Mountain. Have you ever seen Brokeback Mountain?
Oh gosh, no. I really want to.
Listen, it is my.
Listen.
Oh my gosh. I love that movie so.
Is it because it's like, why do you love it?
Because first of all, it's beautifully shot. Every shot is just like beautifully composed, and it's set in like Wyoming. So it's got these big mountains and beautiful lakes and all these things.
What's the time period?
60s, early 60s.
Oh, okay.
So it's like the 1960s, and these two guys are shepherds. People call it the gay cowboy movie, but they're actually shepherds. And they're herding sheep up on this mountain, and as they're spending all this time alone, like they're these two blue-collar, uneducated, poor guys who are just living hand to mouth.
Yeah.
And they're very isolated, and they're not necessarily sad, but they're not happy people.
Yeah.
And
they're just mundane.
Everything is just about survival. Get that next paycheck so you can live.
Yeah.
And when they're on this mountain alone, like they start to talk, and like Heath Ledger's character is a very stoic, barely speaks kind of man. And they start to like connect to one another, and it's this very real scene of two humans like empathizing with somebody else for the first time. Like finding empathy from somebody, and so they end up like falling in love with each other, and like even they can't quite, because in that time like homosexuality wasn't,
oh gosh, it was like
it like wasn't real to them.
Yeah.
So they couldn't figure out what was going on, and one of my favorite scenes is when they finish their job for the summer, because it's just for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And they're going their separate ways. And what's his name? Who plays the other guy?
I have no idea. I've never seen the movie.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Gyllenhaal. He gets in his car. He has a truck. He gets in his truck and he drives away. And Heath Ledger's character is walking, and he seems like he's totally normal. And then all of a sudden he ducks into this alley and like just like collapses in physical pain of how sad he is that he's never going to see this person again.
Wow.
And that is actually only like an hour into the movie though. Wow. And years later they find each other again, but now they're both married and have kids.
Wow.
And the whole movie is like this story of them like seeing each other throughout their lifetime, and they're both like living these lives, and they're so unhappy in their lives. And I'm gonna spoiler alert here if you don't want to know. Jack, which is Jake Gyllenhaal's character, dies at the age of like 30 something. And Heath Ledger's character sent a postcard to be like, all right, let's meet up at this time, and he gets it returned to him, and it just has stamped like deceased on it. Oh, wow. Like it's so cold, and so like that's all he gets. And he has no he has no claim on this person. Yeah. Even though that was the love of his life, and they've been together for something like 20 years. Yeah. And at the very end, he goes to Jake Gyllenhaal's character's parents just to say, like, I would really like to take his ashes up on this mountain. It was his last wish, Brokeback Mountain, where they did their work together and where they met.
Mm-hmm.
And the parents are like, we don't know who you are. You don't get to do that. Blah, blah, blah. And so he goes up and he finds this shirt in his closet, and it's like both of their shirts like together. Like the sleeves of his shirt are inside the sleeves of the other guy's shirt. Like it's just so like, oh, it's so touching.
Oh.
And I just like, it has nothing to do, like I could care less if it's two men or two women or a man and a woman. It's just a beautiful story of like two people who couldn't be true to their love. Like they never got to
be with each other,
live their lives together. And like, oh my gosh, it's just like so beautiful, and the music is beautiful.
Wow.
And I love the 60s, so it's just great. It's a great film. But yeah, what's your next one? Do you have another one?
Let's see here. What is one of my other favorite movies? I love Disney's Hercules.
Disney's Hercules.
That is one of my favorite. You've seen it, right?
Yeah, I mean, what about it is like makes it important?
I grew up on that movie. It's one of my, like, I used to have the VHS of Hercules, the VHS cassette, and I used to watch that thing so much that I actually broke it. Like,
really?
The tape got just destroyed, because it just got played, rewind, played, rewind, to the point to where it just stopped working.
Yeah.
And I love it because it's colorful, it's fun. The Muse, I love the Muse. They're one of my most favorite. The music in that movie is so much of a feel good, get you up out of your seat, makes you want to sing and dance with it. Like, sure, other Disney movies have music like that, but the entire movie is this, and like, it's just like, and it was so beautifully done. It's like, okay, how do we put song and dance into this? It's a Disney movie. It has to have some sort of song and dance in it. How do we put that into this movie? Do we want Hercules doing that? No, that doesn't make sense. But hey, what about the gods of song and the gods of art, the Muse? Yeah. Why don't they do it? And I'm like, that's genius.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And Hades is so like, he's one of my favorite villains of all time because he's such a sly douchebag, but you love to hate him because he's such a good villain, He's a businessman, if you really think about it. His archetype is businessman.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And I love Hercules. My favorite is Meg. I love Meg. That woman. I think most of my sass in my life comes from her. What?
You seem to like characters of jaded women. Like
I know. I don't know what it is. I just love women that are just like, fuck off, just like, leave me alone. I don't need you. I just love that. Just like, I don't know. I think it reminds me of my sister, because that's what my sister is. She goes around and she tells all these guys that she's lesbian so that they'll leave her alone. Because my sister is a very attractive young lady. And she literally has to beat men off with a stick. So she tells people, she's like, oh, I'm a lesbian, so that people will, leave her alone. And I tell her, I'm like, Maya, you got to be careful, because the guy that you do like might hear this and just will be like, well, if she's a lesbian, I guess she's not interested in me. And she's like, I'll make sure that doesn't happen. I'm like, how? What are you gonna do? Like, my sister's like I don't know, I love her to death. But I guess, whenever I see these characters that are like these very jaded, very just, sassy, just very angsty chicks, I'm just like, I love them, because I think if I was a girl, I'd probably be like that, I'd definitely be like a Meg. If I was a woman, I'd probably be a Meg. I mean, hey, if I have a Hercules
oh man,
whisking me away, I'd be like, fuck yes.
Is your boyfriend home?
No, he had to take a double shift today, so he won't be home until 11.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah, so I can have these fantasies.
Oh God. So Hercules. Yeah.
So Hercules. No.
Not Hercules.
Baby, if you're listening to this, I love you very much. I'm only kidding.
We have 5 people watching right now.
We have 4 people watching, I think.
Well, I'm one of them.
Oh. Shit.
So it says
Fuck.
5 right now because I'm on there.
Damn it.
Sorry.
What's your next favorite movie?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of. Okay, so I said The Apartment. I said Brokeback Mountain. There is another one. I wrote them all down before we started talking. Oh, The Double. Have you ever seen The Double?
The Double?
The Double. With
No.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Is it an old movie?
No, it came out I think in like 2013.
The Double. I'm gonna Google it to see if I remember it.
Oh my gosh, it's great, and it really fits in with our idea of speculative fiction.
Ooh.
There is this guy. He has this very mundane job where he kind of just like sits at a desk and like crunches numbers and has a crush on this girl who like doesn't look twice at him and blah 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 blah. Very taken advantage of at work. Nobody cares about him. Then one day, this person comes and starts to work there, who looks exactly like him. And has all like, but he's like super confident and everybody respects him and the girl loves him and like all, but he looks exactly like.
Is it played by the same actor?
Yeah.
Wow. It's Jesse Eisenberg.
Like yeah, it's Jesse Eisenberg, and they look the same, but like, and they acknowledge each, like they know, they're like, we look the same. Nobody else can tell that they look the same.
Wow.
That's and weird. Like. It's
creepy.
Yeah, it's super weird, and it just gets more and more complicated as like the plot advances, and I just love it so much.
I noticed that like, a lot of the speculative fiction kind of falls into the realm of horror almost, because that would be a very scary situation.
Yeah, well, horror is an aspect of speculative fiction, and it's definitely like, I don't know if it gets a little creepy sometimes. Yeah. I don't know if it would be considered a horror film, but I don't want to give anything else away about it, but it's so, because if I say anything else, it'll ruin the movie. Yeah. And I've already ruined like 2 movies today. Yeah. But this, everybody needs to go. Also, it's beautiful, and the colors everything's like this dull green.
Cool. Ooh. Kind of like how the Matrix was, how everything kind of had like a green kind of filter over it.
Yeah, and they live in this world that's like, I love that nothing's explained. Like, it's never explained why this double has appeared, and they work in this weird, like, very mechanical underground, everything's sort of made of like industrial metal, and like, but it's never like, this is the future, or this is the, it's just like, it's just the world.
This is just the world. And,
yeah, it's beautiful. I love that film. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
What about you?
I think my next one is probably going to have to be 2 movies, because I can't say one without having the other.
Okay.
Which is the Alien and Aliens movies. Because I don't like the third. The third one's shit, and Alien Resurrection, I think it is garbage, and then Prometheus was garbage. So Alien and Aliens. In
that universe?
Huh?
I didn't know Prometheus was a part of that universe.
Yep, Prometheus is a Prometheus. It's weird. It's a prologue or prologue. Yeah, it's a prologue. It's a prequel to Alien, but takes place in its own technical canon. It happens in the same universe, but it follows its own group of people.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, but the reason I love Alien so much, I'll start off with Alien. The reason I love Alien so much is because it's that kind of used future where it's like these spaceships, they're not all pristine chrome, this looks like a ship, like a literal like submarine kind of ship, or like a ship for like it looks like an actual ship. It has great floors, piping everywhere. It's not pretty. It's built for function. I love that. And the characters, they're just people doing their jobs, wanting to get home so that they can pay the bills and live their lives. And they're just thrown into this fucked up, horrific situation, all because they accidentally come across a distress signal.
Man. Oh, we have a question in our chat.
Have you
Yeah,
guys seen the trailer? I have seen clips of the trailer for Alien Covenant. I don't know how I feel about it because it is the sequel to Prometheus. It takes place after Prometheus, in the Prometheus canon kind of storyline. So I don't know how I feel about it. It looks creepy, but I don't. That's the thing. It's a trailer, you know.
Yeah.
Prometheus trailer looked amazing, and that movie was garbage.
And I have seen none, so
Yeah.
I have not seen it.
But the thing is like, they find a distress beacon, and all hell goes loose. Everything goes wrong. Everything. And you don't know who the main character is until you're left with Ripley. And you're like, I guess you're the main character, because literally everyone else is dead.
You're all that's left.
It's either you or the alien at this point, or the cat, because everyone else is gone,
Oh, I love that.
And what I realized is Alien is almost like the entire movie Alien is just a backstory for Ripley's character in the second movie.
Mm-hmm.
It just shows you this is why she's such a badass. Because in the second movie, it's less horror and more sci-fi action, because it's like we realize that these aliens are just scary. These aliens are creepy, and so we're sending in the military. So in the first Alien movie, we didn't have a gun, and there was only one alien, so it was more intimidating. But now that we have the Marines, one alien isn't going to pose that much problem. How do we up the ante? What if we have an entire colony being overtaken by them? And you're like, oh shit, But the characters in that are also awesome, because they're like, they start off these asshole dickhead Marines that are just so full of themselves, who they think, I'm just gonna shoot it, it's gonna die. And then they find out that no, you're wrong. Ripley's like, you need to get your heads out of your ass. You need to realize that what you're going up against isn't some walk in the park. You're not just shooting it. Yes, you can kill it. You can shoot it and you can kill it, but it bleeds acid. So you better shoot it from a distance. You can't kill this thing by normal means. You can't win. There's no winning. There's only running away. She's like, you might be these hard-ass Marines who have gone through a shit ton of combat, but you have never faced this. It's like it's like when people do a Ouija board and they're like, it's all fun and games, they'll be fine, and then holy shit, you accidentally summoned a demon in your house and you don't know what to do,
Yeah.
But Ripley is the only character in that entire movie who really doesn't lose her shit. Like, she goes into that entire movie, even when things are going wrong and everyone else is panicking, she's like, she's still calm. She's like, yes, things are going wrong, but that's just the nature of these creatures when you're dealing with them. Things will go wrong, And the fact that, I don't want to give away too much, but it's just this. And that's why I love her, because she's just like, she goes in, she's like, I'm going to die. She just has this mindset of, I'm going to die, but by God, I'm going to go down fucking kicking. I'm going to be the biggest bitch to these motherfucking aliens as I... another one of our comments says, there is no winning, there is only running away. What a quote to live by.
That's my old roommate from freshman year. Hi, Brittany.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I have never seen any of these Alien movies, but I did watch a playthrough of Alien Isolation.
Okay, holy shit. That game is so fucking amazing. And it's that game, it doesn't really that game more focuses towards on the premise of Alien, the first movie, the kind of helplessness of not knowing what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't really focus on Aliens, because Aliens is more of just like, it's going, it's an action movie. It's more of an action movie. While Alien was more of like a horror terror movie, like suspense. Yeah. And that's what Isolation, when they made that game, they were pulling so heavily from Alien. And that's why it's so good.
Yeah.
It's such
this
a
is a beautiful
movie.
Game.
Oh my gosh.
And also, have you seen, Clara actually showed me this, photos of the guy who played the alien? Like, he was, like, in the costume.
He's creepy.
No, he's a babe.
Oh, wait. Which one are you talking about? Because there was a few guys.
They're, like,
You talking about the black guy?
Yeah.
Oh, he's fucking gorgeous. His
He's
eyes
a
look
babe.
like crystal balls.
Like, oh my goodness, he's a real babe.
He's
like,
gorgeous. Too bad he looks like a. Too bad his day job is he's killing people on a spaceship.
oh goodness. Okay,
No,
so
because
you,
there's another guy who plays one of the aliens in the suit, and he's just this really tall. I think he might be albino, but he's just like very tall, lanky, white, like albino man, and he's creepy.
Mhm.
He's scary to look at because he just, he's like tall. He has the proportions of one of them. He's very oddly, he has very elongated proportions, and because he's like albino and very like lanky, it just makes him kind of look like almost like a Slender Man or like a vampire.
Man, that just sounds like my kind of guy.
Damn.
Oh, what a hottie.
What-
Okay, so you were talking about Alien, and then what was the? Because you said you had two together.
Oh yeah, Alien and Aliens, those two. Yep.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was like a second one relatable to that one. For me, I don't know if this probably doesn't. I can't quite segue into this, but my third movie is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh
Have you ever
gosh, I think
seen-
I've heard of that.
It's like it was the first popular serious role that Jim Carrey played.
Oh god.
Like, he's just purely a serious. He's not funny at all in it,
Hmm.
and it's beautiful. And the power of that film is the order of the story. It is like the way they tell the story. It is like completely chronologically almost backwards, but it starts from like almost the end, and then the premise of it is there is this new medical treatment where you can go in and have people or things erased from your memory.
Oh no, I do know this. Doesn't he have like a journal that he writes stuff down in?
Yeah, and
Yes.
but the thing is, his journal is like he tore everything out of it, so he
Yeah.
can't like go back and find it. But he had this girlfriend
So like
who was,
selective
like, his-
amnesia.
Yeah, when they broke up, she had him erased from her memory,
Wow.
and so he finds out, and he's so upset. He decides he's gonna get it too.
Wow.
And you don't really know what's going on at first because you don't have any attachment to these characters because you're just meeting them. But then you watch him get this treatment, and you actually go into his mind as they're going through his memories and erasing them, and you start to see like their love story together, and he is like reliving it and analyzing it and going, yeah, that was so bad, that fight we had, and blah 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 blah. But it's going back and back and back and back
Mhm.
until when they first met, and like as they're going through, he's going, wait a minute, this wasn't all bad. And then by the end of it, he's like, I don't want to forget, you, but it's
Mhm.
too late. Like they're at the last memory, and when they're like saying goodbye at their meeting, and it's just so cool. And then I'm not going to give anything else away, but that's not the end of it. And like he wakes up and he doesn't remember her, and then there's a denouement, so to speak. And so, oh my gosh, but it's just so good, and the story is completely backwards, and I love it. Like, and it's beautiful, and it's got Kate Winslet in it, and really strong characters, good writing.
That's awesome. I love Jim Carrey. He's one of my favorite actors.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic, and he's a
Speaking-
really cute, like mild-mannered, shy guy in that.
Ever seen his painting?
Huh? No.
He's an amazing painter. I love the colors
Really?
he uses. They're very bright and vibrant and just happy. They're very happy.
Really?
Yeah, I love his paintings. They're so pretty. Like he uses a lot of like almost, I want to say neon colors almost. Like very saturous, like citrusy colors, and I love looking at them because they're happy. They physically make me happy to look at these paintings, And they're
They're
very
not the best.
abstract too, but they make me happy. It's weird.
I'm gonna look them up.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
he's
you
an
tell
amazing
me
painter.
what your next film is.
Oh, speaking of Jim Carrey, I think one of my other favorite films is The Mask with him in it.
You know, I've never seen that. Or
Oh
if
my
I did, it was when I was very young, because I
Oh.
don't remember.
I
these are
remember my
really
dad used to have the laser disc of The Mask, Jim Carrey. was so much fun. I love that movie so much. It's very much of a comic book kind of movie. It's very comic booky. It's very like funny, fast pace, that kind of like that comic book logic, just like that. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna, fuck it. I'm gonna do this, like that kind of like they're almost self-aware in the sense like they realize they're in a, like the Mask character knows he's in a movie. He breaks the fourth wall so many times. But even the Jim Carrey's character when he isn't the Mask, he just has this like, you know what? Because his entire life, his character was just taking advantage. He works in the bank, and he's just taken advantage of, and day in and day out. And then one day he finds just this mask in the he sees what looks like a man drowning in the river. So he dives in to save him, and what it is, it's just a pile of garbage with a mask on it.
Oh.
So he thinks, whoa, what, so of course you're gonna think it looks like a person, but it's just this thing. So he takes the mask, takes it home, and he puts it on, and he turns into this entity, this mask, this green-skinned, bald entity of just chaos. And through this, he lives all the things he's ever wanted to do but never had the courage to do it.
Oh.
He kisses the girl that he likes. I mean, granted, he kind of like he assaults her almost. Like he just runs up to her and just like plants one on her and then just runs off like a lunatic. He robs the bank he works at.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he goes to the club. He goes to this club, and it's awesome. The girl that he likes, that is the girl that he likes, that he's like, I'm gonna settle for her, not because but because she seems like she would like me. She seems like the kind of person that would be interested in a guy kind of like me. She's not gorgeous, but she's not ugly. She's very, she's pretty, but she's not, she's not this model figure,
Yeah.
And she's kind of almost like a Velma, I guess you could say, like Scooby-Doo kind of Velma, where she's like, she's not ugly, but she's not gorgeous, and she's kind of like this little nerdy persona. But as the movie goes on, you realize that she's using him. And she's not who she says she is. And the woman he actually ends up being with is this supermodel.
Oh.
This girl who's just like, because he treats her well, and he treats her with respect, and he actually shows that he cares about her. And she's like, every guy that I've ever been with was only wanting me to be with them because I'm just like the trophy at their side. But you actually are just like that kind of puppy dog where you're like, wow, you want to be with me, kind of. And she's like, that's what I'm looking for in a guy who wants to be with me because, not so I'm like this trophy, but who like idolizes me almost,
Yeah.
who actually values me. And that's who he ends up being with. And it's great because at the end of the movie, he's like, I don't need this anymore. And he tosses the mask away because he finally is living the life he wants to live. He finally has the courage to just do what he wants to do. It's great.
And that's the really cool storytelling power of props.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's really interesting that that's coming in because that's how Connor and I met, was in the environments and props class.
Yeah.
Where we just took a class learning how to tell story through props and
not things that aren't characters.
The what?
Things that aren't characters,
Yeah, exactly. Like,
but somehow manage to take a characteristic, a persona to themselves,
Yeah. And like what sort of things would be in the place that this person lives in. And
oh my gosh, that was so much fun. Like, remember one of our classmates, he had to design a room it was a detective, but you were like, how do we know that this detective is a woman, And it was like, well, what do we put in this? And at one point we're like, why don't we have a banner on the wall that says, I am a girl.
Some of the ideas in that critique were just like, in any of the critiques in that class, we're like, all right, what?
Oh, remember one person? They were like, what if there's like a Y narrator? And I'm like, what?
What?
Why would that mean it's a chick?
Oh my goodness.
And we were trying to stray away from just having the cliche of, oh, there's makeup or there's like heels somewhere in the room, like trying to kind of get away from those tropes.
Yeah, because also that character may not be very like
feminine,
girly cool.
Yeah.
But all right, let's each do one more movie and then end because we're going super long this time.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's New Year's. We're getting back. It's our third episode. We've been away for almost 2 weeks. Yeah.
So
we can go a little long.
Yeah. And we have people in the chat, which makes me so excited.
Yes! Oh, finally people are talking to us.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So, okay, let's do one more each, and then we'll close out.
Yeah.
We'll finish.
But before we do one more each, do you remember her favorite, the wife's favorite bullet taped to the wall?
Whose environment was that?
That was, oh gosh. It was either Logan's or Ender's because their environments were so similar because their stories were somewhat similar.
Oh,
Remember?
Yeah.
Because it was like that basement room with the people living in it. I think it was Ender's. It was Ender's environment. And he needed something to show that his wife was dead and he mourned her and he was going to get revenge for her. So I was like, what if he has a bullet taped to a wall? And they're like, why is there a bullet taped to a wall? I'm like, it was her favorite bullet.
It's my wife's favorite bullet.
That she never used.
No, my favorite was Logan's, and I don't know if Logan is still listening, but that one that he himself admitted, he was like, this was rushed, and he had that spider web.
Yeah, the spooky spider.
Yeah, and it was like a Halloween like Party City spider web.
We still bring that up to like, today and stuff in class. We'll be like, oh man, Logan. He's like, I know, I needed more spooky spider.
More spiders. Or when he did that like temple, and he was like, you can tell it's very like serene and natural because there are birds.
There are birds. And it's just like, oh wow.
Yeah, the
that class
birds.
Was so much. I love just because so much of that class was just us like, I don't want to say bullshitting, but it was really us just like, how do I make this look? What? Because we were not allowed to put people in any of the things. We were not allowed to do that. It was solely focusing on, like how do you make a city street look active and productive without any people in it, without it looking deserted or like everyone just ran away all of a sudden.
Yeah, we had one classmate, and I'm not going to use any names, but she struggled, man. Like every project she did was like, did you read the assignment sheet? Like, I think some of her props were like animals, and I'm like, you can't. Chicken is not a prop. It's a chicken.
Yeah.
And just things like that. But I mean,
or do you remember? Is a cave an interior? Is it
because it's outside, but it's inside. What if it doesn't have a roof?
Is an open mouth an interior?
We were bullshitting our professor so
gosh.
hard with like the stupidest questions, and he knew it. And he was like, "Guys, just stop."
And it was so sad because his office was literally in the classroom.
Yeah.
He couldn't leave.
My favorite though was that final with that was Jamie's, and even Jamie himself was like, I did this last night, guys. I didn't try. But it had that man with like the tiny hand.
Yes.
And the last panel was like the policemen didn't even look like policemen. They were just like guys in shirts.
Yeah.
And everything was on like a different plane. And I took pictures of it and I still have them on my phone.
I remember I looked at my final for that class, and I remember I caught a glimpse of it because I was going through all my old artwork, and I was like, "Oh gosh, this is horrible."
I mean, that's
so
what always
bad.
happens.
Huh?
That's what always happens.
I
when
know,
you look back at
it's
finals.
so bad. Mine was so stupid. Mine was just, all right, I need to think of an idea, and it was so dumb.
I don't remember yours.
Mine was, remember, it was the goat guy and the lion dude and the plane and the giant robot. And it turns out that the guy doesn't really actually want to hurt him. He just wants to. Because he crash landed and he was just wanted to make sure he was okay.
Yeah, I remember. I couldn't tell it was a robot. I thought it was just the wall.
Yeah.
But I mean.
But hey, I got so much better since then, and that's all that matters.
Definitely. Okay, so one more movie each.
Okay. You go.
Okay. Oh no, I had a list. And I can't get to it because I'm using my phone because the internet here is terrible. Oh, what was the other one?
It
Okay,
was
I said, let's review. I said Brokeback Mountain. I
yes,
said Double.
yes,
I said The Apartment.
yes.
I said
And the
Eternal
thing,
Sunshine of the Spotless
yep.
Mind.
Mhm.
Oh, I know, Another Earth.
Oh, what is this
Have
about?
you seen it or heard of it at all?
No.
Okay, Another Earth is a movie about this girl, or not, it's not necessarily specifically about this girl, but basically, all of a sudden one night, everybody looks out the window, and there, right next to the moon, is literally another Earth.
Hmm.
And it's like completely identical to Earth, and they're like, this thing has appeared, we don't understand it, and they try to contact it, and the very intelligent scientist who's like live broadcasting to the world, contacting this other planet, is like talking, and then all of a sudden the voice comes back is her voice, like another person exactly like her.
Wow.
And so like they find out like this other planet, everybody has a doppelganger, and this girl wins this contest. And it's kind of, this is the one part that's a little bit unbelievable. She wins a contest to go fly to the other Earth.
Nah,
Like,
fuck that. I ain't doing that shit.
Win a trip to Earth too.
Yeah.
And she apparently, the lives of these people on this other Earth were exactly the same up until the point that the two saw each other. And she was in a car accident when she was like 19 or 20, and she was driving drunk, and she killed a man's family. And so she decides, like, she's like, if I could go to that other Earth, maybe me, because it happened on the night that they saw the other Earth. She's like, maybe the me on that Earth didn't do that. So, like, what happened?
Yeah.
And it's just really cool. And then it also has this whole thing where she, like, wants to go to the man and apologize for killing his family, but, like, doesn't have the nerve, and, like, ends up falling in love with him. Wow. And so there's, like, a very tangible story of, like, tragedy and love, and then there's this whole overarching story of there is an identical planet just floating over our heads.
The tidal forces are literally ripping our planets apart.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's insane. And the ending just kind of blows your mind. It's one of those moments where, like, it happens, and then, like, all of a sudden the credits appear, and you're like, wait, what? Go back, no, what?
Rewind.
It's so good. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that right there is, whew, man, super good. So,
Super good.
What about you? What's your last one?
My last one is probably going to have to be the Grand Budapest Hotel.
I have never seen that.
Oh, it's one of my... it's such a good movie. It's such a feel-good movie, and it's weird, and it's funny.
Wait, aren't they killing people, though?
What? No! No one dies.
In the Grand Budapest Hotel?
Yeah, no one dies. It's a really cool movie. It's about a man. It starts off in the 60s, I think. I want to say 60s or 70s.
Okay.
About a man who is traveling Europe. He's a reporter or something, or a journalist. He's traveling Europe, and he's just like staying at all these like very old hotels, and he just wants to get the stories about them. He wants to put them in like a traveler's guide. Like a very in-depth traveler's guide. And he goes to the Grand Budapest, and it's quiet and stuff. There's a lot of people there, and he meets and it never tells you where the Grand Budapest is. It's just ambiguously in Europe, if that makes any sense. It's like a made-up country. And the Grand Budapest Hotel, the guy who's running it when he meets him is this old Indian man, like Indian. Or I believe the actor is Indian, but he's just a foreigner, as they put it. But he tells him, he's like, and the entire movie is a flashback. It's all it's the Indian, or the foreigner man, the current owner, telling this journalist about the I think he's Indian. I don't know. He's definitely not European. That's all I know. Yeah. I always thought he was Indian. I don't know. But it's weird because he's a non-European in the 60s owning a European hotel, you know. So there's a little bit of like a, you know, like, oh, this is interesting. So he tells him, and it talks about how he was a refugee, and it takes place in like when he came to the Grand Budapest for the first time. It was during, I want to say, the 1920s, or it was either on the brink of World War I or World War II.
I would probably guess World War II, because World War I was in like the 19-teens.
Yeah. So I want to say World War II. And it was, he is a refugee from another country, not in Europe, and he comes to Europe, and he gets a job as a bellboy in the Grand Budapest Hotel. And the man who plays the current owner of the Grand Budapest Hotel while he was a child is the man who plays Voldemort.
What?
The actor who plays Voldemort is the flashback owner of the Grand Budapest.
Oh my goodness.
And he takes this kid under his wing, and he's like, I'm going to show you. He's like, when I was your age, I started off as a bellboy here, and now look where I am, you know? And he takes this kid under his wing, and the Grand Budapest Hotel is like, I think there's a line in it where he's like, it's an immaculate, beautiful hotel where the staff are run like they work in a monastery. Because everyone has a job, everyone has a place to be, no one's diddly-daddling. Every night before they go to bed, they have a dinner where they all sit in a room, they all don't say anything, they eat as the owner gives like a small speech and reads like out of a book, you know. And then they all go to bed, and then they get ready for the next day. And the entire hotel runs like a machine. And the owner, his job is, I guess, what is it called when you like run a hotel and you're also like the owner or whatever?
I would guess an owner.
I don't know if he's the owner, but he runs the hotel. He's
like the manager.
I guess you could say that, yeah. But he is having relationships with the woman. Yes, the woman who owns the hotel. He has relationships with her. She's a very old woman.
Oh.
And she's like, oh my gosh, you know, and he's probably in his like late 30s, early 40s. The Voldemort's character, and she's a very old woman, and she's just like, wow, now that my husband's dead, you know, and you know, she's just like, wow, I'm with a younger man, like a much younger man, you know, and he like, you know, he treats her, you know, like she's this goddess. So what she ends up doing is she writes him into his will, and she gives him everything.
Whoa.
And not because he wants it, he wants none of it, but she's like, I love you so much, and you made the last parts of my life. You know, you treated me like a, you know, like a princess, like a woman. Like, you made me feel beautiful in my old age and whatever. So she's like, I'm leaving you everything.
Wow.
You know, and he's as surprised as everyone is. He's like, wait a minute, what? Because she dies abruptly, and they summon him to the, where they're reading away the will, and they're like, her entire family are dickheads. They are just there. They only, because she's an extremely wealthy woman, and they only care about her because they want her money.
Yeah.
So he shows up, and they're like, you can't be here. And he's like, I have been informed that I have been left everything of hers. You know, or a substantial amount of everything to her. Like, her family got her home, but he got the hotel and like I think the majority of her wealth. Oh gosh, what else? So her family tries to kill him and have him framed for like murder and collusion or whatever, and like making it look like he had her write him into the will and then had her killed almost. So what he does to get back at them is he steals the most priceless, most valuable thing in her home, which is a painting of a boy eating an apple. Boy with Apple, which is this painting. It's a shit painting by like, it's a really stupid painting, but like the movie's like, it's the most valuable thing in all of Europe. Like, everyone wants this painting. And what he puts in its place so that no one like, it's hilarious. He steals the painting, and then he takes another painting and he puts it in its place of these two lesbians having sex. And then he runs away with the painting. And there's just all these shenanigans and stuff, and it just shows just like how, you know, it's an amazing story of just fun and excitement and just shenanigans, and it's just, and the director, his cinematography is some of my best because he makes everything feel, I don't know how to explain it. Just
It's like a storybook. I've seen Wes Anderson.
It's such like a little storybook, and the characters, the way they act is so humanizing and cute and just very, you know, like it's adorable. Like even like it's just fun, and it's so much fun. It's, oh my gosh, it's so much fun. Ugh.
Yeah, I need to see that. The only Wes Anderson film I ever saw was Bottle Rockets, which was actually his first film. And I didn't like it.
Wes Anderson this past month made a Christmas commercial that takes, I think, for
saw
H&M. That thing almost brought me to tears. It was so adorable. I loved it so much. But that movie, that whole commercial felt like it could have been a scene from the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah.
It feels like it could have been a scene from that. Like a deleted scene.
I have such a crush on Adrian Brody, so I'm just like following him around. I love it. Well, we are almost, we're coming up on like a 2-hour broadcast.
This is our longest broadcast.
Yeah.
But that's a good, breaking in 2017.
Yeah. So we'll be back about the same time next week. Yep, Monday. And I'm so excited we had people talking to us this time.
We had the largest viewer count ever this episode.
I think we're growing. And,
it's good. It feels good.
Yeah, definitely. I think 2017 is going to be a good year for us.
It's gonna be. I just opened up my little Asian fan, and I'm now sassily
I'm looking at you.
Fanning myself.
You guys can't see us, but I can see Connor, and he's got this like beautiful green fan.
It's lime green with cherry blossoms on it. My grandmother got it for me, and I love it. It's one of my favorites.
It's beautiful.
I keep it away from my boyfriend because he doesn't know how to open up a fan to save his life, and I'm too afraid he's gonna break it. So I keep it from him because I'm like, I don't want that thing. I love that thing.
Oh, it's so beautiful. But next week we'll have a story for you guys. I'm thinking it's turning out that we have a story to read every other week.
Yeah, I like that. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah. And I'm not sure who will be writing it.
It will be me. I will be writing the story.
Yeah, I didn't know if he wanted to, but it is his turn if he wants to.
And it's going to be a doozy.
And then after a while, we'll be bringing in stories from other people. I have a friend who works at a literary journal. Connor has a writer friend he wants to bring on.
Yes.
What's her name? Or do you want to say, or do you want to wait?
I can say it. Her name is Tara Delina.
Okay, yeah. And she's a young adult fiction writer.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, published author. So we'll hopefully have her on to read something and talk about some stuff. So I guess we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next week. We are signing off. We have to have a cool sign-off thing. Like...
Oh, I don't know. If we were doing it before, it would have been like, see you next year.
No, what I mean, like, we need something that we can say. Like, how about this? All those who listened, if you could, go to our YouTube channel, find this video, and in the comment section, give us a really fun and interesting thing to say when we sign off.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. This is episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're relying on you. And if none of you can come through to us, then we're going to have to figure out something on our own.
Damn it, we'll have to think.
All right. Signing off, our plebeians.